Hey everyone, Jason. Welcome to another Funkoverse unboxing. This is for Game of Thrones. So this is a big box set. I'm not going to go through the book. You can either go to this link down here and learn how to play, or you can go watch my video, I guess. I don't know much about Game of Thrones, but as a collector of the series and just having more expansion content, I bought this because I was like, hey, I get more characters, more maps, more items, more different stuff to do. Plus, if I play with other people, there are probably other people I know that are into Game of Thrones. So there's always that too. Additionally, this actually introduces some new modes of gameplay versus some of the original sets. Usually it's flags control leadership territory. That was like the main one most every game has. And this one was one of the first that actually added some new sets. So we're going to take a look at everything that's in the box. So one you're also going to notice are different than some of my other videos is I have them all set up with colored bases. So you get your normal black and white ones, but you also get a red and yellow. This is for one of the modes, or two of the different modes, I believe, where you actually play free-for-all. So you can have up to four players against each other versus two on two. Shots are at different bases, so you can set aside what different teams are. And I also threw out their different tokens, their generic characters which would match their bases. But like the other game, you don't always have to keep these colors. If you're going to play a two-player game, you can just have black and whites versus each other. If you have other games, mix and match characters. So we're going to have Jon Snow. And I'm going to apologize when I mess up names on here. So you have Daenerys Targaryen, Arya Stark, and the Night King, who have their tokens: Sworn Brother, the Unsullied, Stark Soldier, and a White Walker. Alright, so we're going to jump in and look at the rest of the everything you get in every box set stuff. So we have our dice with our three different sides on there. You're going to get 8 exhausted tokens, 1 for each of the 4 pops, and 1 for each of the 4 other characters. Your double-sided first player token, of course. We're also going to get our 4 point crystals, or tokens, which have the numbers on the back, or letters on the back, sorry. And that's the typical stuff we always get. So now in this mode, we're actually going to get some different tokens because they have different modes. So I'm going to slide all of these out of the way. So we're going to get these 4 Rook Castle looking tokens, which are stars on the back for different modes. There's going to have one that matches each color, so that way it's for the different team effects. We're also going to get this trophy here, or this one here with a little torch on it, which is called a Triumph token. So that's one of the other 2 new modes. So we're replacing the flags and the controls with these other 2 modes. We're also going to get 21 black point crystals. Alright, so that's all of our regular stuff. So we're going to just move everybody out of the way. And then we can look at the board. And I repeat, I don't know anything about this show or world, so I can't help you there. Now, the one thing that's kind of odd is you have stuff for 4-player mode, but they only gave you 2 token trackers. Which you never think, like, well, that doesn't make sense. But I believe there's a reason for that, if I am correct. So, we're going to look at this side of the board first. Everything is in my way. I need a bigger table, apparently. Alright, so this side of the board is called Winterfell. So if you're familiar with the show, you probably know what this is. To me, it's like a giant castle that's been torn asunder. So what they have on the side here is you also have 4 cooldown trackers. So they started doing this on any game boards that have a 4-player mode. So that way each person has their own tracker versus having just the 2 small ones. Or 2 large ones, but the 2 singular ones. So we're going to look at these new modes right away. So we have Infiltrate, So you have a starting area for each character. You put your little rook in there, and you of course you have some point markers. And how you gain points in here, if the character returns to your starting area using the rules above. Okay, so my character is on or adjacent to a rival's infiltrate marker, the little castle or rook. The character may do an interaction to score with it. When they do, place the marker on one of its owner's cooldown track and return the character to its starting area. When the infiltrate marker shifts off, place it back on the map. So if a character returns to the starting area, so basically what you want to do is you need to try and infiltrate or sneak in and get into their castle or their area and then interact with that. If you knock out a rival, you gain points, and you gain points for interacting with point markers. I wish you got more points for doing the infiltrate, because if you're gaining the same amount of points for doing these or knocking out characters, it really doesn't make as much sense to even try and get in there. It would have been better if you had like 2 points for that. Especially because it goes onto their board and it won't cool down until the end of the turn. So if you're playing a 4-player game and player 1 got their rook, this is going to go off the board. So now for any of the next 3 players' turns, which one's probably that player's, so the other 2 players don't even have access to that. So if you had 2 guys out here and 1 player went first and they got it, the second player's like, well, I can't go get that, and it's not going to be able to get across the board. So that's kind of weird. You just had to up the point amounts. And maybe you might adjust. I mean, it does go from 6 to 10 if you're playing with 3 characters versus 2, but not number of players necessarily. So that's kind of interesting. The other mode that is brand new is called Triumph. So it's very the same outside, except it's basically King of the Hill. So a character knocks out a character on a triumph square, place that character on its triumph square. Gaining points. If one of your characters is on the throne square at the end of the round, gain a point. Knock out a character, gain a point. You know, it's the same idea there. But you're trying to play King of the Hill. So someone gets on there, they're going to gain a point every time they can stay on that space. And then every time they're done. And I feel like, again, I would have upped the point amounts for this and made that worth, like, make the points to, like, 6 and 10, make it, like, 12 and 16 or something like that, or 10 and 20, or, like, 15 and 20 or something like that, and then if you stayed on the space, you got 3 points. Because if you have you're playing a 4-player game, you have 3 other people gunning for you, there's a chance you're probably not going to stay on that spot for more than a space or time or 2. But, you know, I'd have to actually play a little bit to make sure, to see how that works. Alright, so now that we've done that, we're going to actually look at the board. And again, there's probably maybe little instances referenced to the show and stuff I don't know about. There's a lot of detail on this board. It's got weapons and swords and skeletons and all sorts of stuff on there. Spiked walls. All sorts of stuff. There's like some torches in the middle. Flip her over. I don't know if there's anything of general significance on here, or like where you'd be like, oh, that's that one thing from that episode, or anything like that. There definitely can be. But there we go. So there's that map. There's the 2 new modes. So that might potentially be one reason why, even if you're not a Game of Thrones fan, you might buy this map. Or buy this box set so you can get that map. As well as like you get additional items and stuff like that. There are other games that have been released that have the Triumph mode. I believe both the Marvel and the Nightmare Before Christmas set also have them. At least as of this video, there might be more that have came out, depending on when you're watching this. So there are other options to get it. It's not stuck solely in the Game of Thrones mode in case you like the other stuff. So the other side is Godswood. It has leaders, which we've seen plenty of time. Starting area, you pick your leaders way down here. Gain more points for knocking out higher level characters. And territory, which we've also seen. So you probably want to keep at least something familiar. Starting areas, and you move out and you try and get to the scoring area up there. Simple as that. This map is, as you like, one is interesting. At first glance, it looks very open, but there's all these little trees and stuff that you have to walk around. I like these ones here, where you can kind of hide in there. And you can't technically go diagonal out of them, so you have to back out, but they could be a good way of hiding, because you can't line of sight through those. Now you pull out, and then once you kind of get up towards the top, it's a lot more open. Definitely some interesting stuff there. So we're going to take a quicker look at this. And again, I don't know if there's going to be anything very specific on here. I'm going to set some of these shields and stuff with symbols. But I don't think it's going to be like the Batman stuff with Arkham, where you're going to have like little references to specific characters as much. But the artwork on here is definitely beautiful. I won't deny that. Alright, so that's the God tree. The tree has a face there, so I don't know if it actually talks or if it just has a face. But there's our map. Alright, so we're going to hop in here and actually look at our characters, and there's some cool stuff with that. Alright, so first off, we're just going to always do our generic characters. We're going to have our White Walker, your Stark Soldier cards, Sworn Brothers, and the Unsullied. Just your generic cards, just so you have something to keep track of and a reminder. We're going to look at our 4 characters. We're going to start with the White Walker, because I know he's a bad guy. Or at least I'm assuming he's bad guy in the context of the other characters are good guys, but maybe his motivations aren't bad. I don't know. Again, I have never seen the show, so anything I know is maybe something I've just seen on the internet. So, alright, he is going to have the winter is here. When the Night King becomes exhausted, each right minion does a move 2 or 1 or challenge 1. When the adjacent character is knocked out, place a right minion on a token, an empty space adjacent to the Night King. So if he knocks out guys, he gets little tiny extra tokens. So we get 2 of them. And they look, they're little frozen zombies, is exhausted and regular side. They have no defense. So if you challenge them, they're going to go down pretty quick. But the fact is you can do a move or a challenge 1. They're not super powerful. But since every time he's exhausted, they get to do a move. So at the end of the turn, each one gets one. And when another character is knocked out, you get to place it. Doesn't matter if they knock him out or not. So they're going to keep basically come in, get knocked out, come in, maybe they're going to muck up stuff, get in the way, things like that. He has Ice Spear. Range 4, challenge 3. Pretty straightforward. Raise the Dead. Place a right minion token on an empty square adjacent to the Night King. So if you don't want to wait for them. And Dreadful Command. Each right minion token does a move 2, then challenge 1. So yeah, it's kind of, he has his own one ability. Other than that, he's just kind of using his summons to throw them around and stuff, which is kind of neat. But he doesn't need it. He can hit from 4 spaces away for challenge 3, which is really powerful. The only thing is then he has to do, but he also has a regular just challenge he can do as well. So there's that. Alright. Up next, let's look at Arya Stark. So there's her. She's got a little dagger on her hip, the little cloak on her cloak there. That's really neat. Just the detail on some of these is always fantastic. Her hair's up in a little bun. So, alright, she has Arya's list. When a rival character challenges Arya or one of her allies, you may give that rival Arya's list status card or move it to that rival. Alright, so let's look at what that does. So she's got a status card, which says, I just want to put it on there so it's not in the way. When Arya knocks this character out, she may do a basic action. Discard this card when this character is knocked out. So if she knocks out that character specifically, she gets to do an extra action. That's kind of like her revenge list. And then her ability then says, when a rival character challenges her or one of her allies, you may then make basically that person your revenge character. So she has water dancing, move 1, challenge 2, move 1. That's actually interesting. I don't know if I've seen that before. So you can hit someone, like move next to them, hit them, and then you can move away. That's kind of cool. Valor Morgulus, challenge 3, or challenge 6 against the rival with the status card. So there's that good thing, that status card, you can hunt them down to basically beat them. And then Faceless Assassin. Place Arya adjacent to the rival within 4 spaces, or 4 squares. If that rival has a list, do a challenge 2 to them. So it's kind of neat. She revolves all around having that challenge list. Which is pretty neat. We're going to look at the one item in the game. I kind of wish when some of these usually when they have a 4-player game, they have 2 items. This one only gets 1. There is a reason for that. So she is going to get this sword. And usually I show off the item with a character that doesn't have any other special cards, but she literally has this sword in her picture. So we're going to show it off. And it's Needle. When this character does an ability, you may increase the challenge or move on that ability by 1. Okay, you can increase the challenge or move by 1. If you do, place Needle on 2 of your cooldown track. It's not forced to do. But if you do, you have the option. So if you need to make sure you can beat them, you can up 1 or you can move 1 more. So that's really neat. I can see that being useful in other games as well. Alright, then we are going to look at Jon Snow. He also has a sword, but I don't think it's the same sword. Yeah, look at belt, studded belt's really cool. Quilted leather, collar. Alright, so he has Blood of Wolf and Dragon. While standing, when Jon or an adjacent ally challenges a rival and wins, you may shift a red or yellow ability token on your cooldown track 1, limited once per turn. Well, that's cool, so you can get his abilities quicker. Heart, or Wild at Heart, move 3. This action may move Jon through rivals. You may do a challenge 2 against rival controlled by a player with more points than you. Interesting, so it's generally just a move, but if you go through someone that's winning, you can challenge them. Long Claw, just a 3 challenge. And Chosen Leader. Each adjacent ally may do a basic challenge or assist action. Limited to once per turn. Yeah, it's kind of neat. Because you could go at the top one, move 3. If you move through it, you get near a rival and they have points, you can challenge them for 2. And then, while you challenge them, now you can shift your ability down 1 more and get ready to use it quicker, or have maybe like Chosen Leader ready quicker. Or you do Chosen Leader and you have one of the ready, so they kind of play off of each other. So our other special card that we got, because we didn't get an item, is to have Companions. Which there's only a couple of these so far in the game. This is one of the features. I know the other one is Nightmare Before Christmas. I don't think any other ones currently have them. So you're going to get a token. There's going to be a bigger token than like the right tokens, because these guys are kind of like little summons. So a companion works is a bigger token because it works more like a regular ally. So they're the same size as your ally tokens. And it's essentially you're adding an extra ally into the game. And you can give it to anybody. I believe he goes with Jon Snow normally. But again, that's just need to look at the pens. You can give him to anybody that likes an item. So he has move up to 2 squares, and he has bite. Challenge 2. So he has less abilities he can do that way than like the regular guys, because the other guys can also move 2, and they have a challenge of 2, but it doesn't cost them, because his has to cost 1 red, so it's only going to work if you're playing him with a character that has a red token. But he doesn't have insist or assist or interact or rally. But he does have loyal protectors. Because when the character Ghost is attached, is knocked down, you may play Ghost adjacent to them. So you can kind of move by him and help protect them. So it's kind of a neat idea. That way you can give a character that has a red, an extra ability. So, of this set, White Walker wouldn't be able to use them because he has no red. But Arya can use them, Jon can use them, and finally, our last character is going to be, I'll go focus, Daenerys Targaryen, the Mother of Dragons, so she can also use them. So she has, at the beginning of Daenerys' turn, move the Drogon token up to 4 squares in a straight line, or place the Drogon token adjacent to Daenerys. Whenever the Drogon token moves, it may move through rivals and obstructions. So this is a little Drogon token. I don't know why it's just a dragon crest versus maybe actually looking like a dragon, like the other characters do or not. But she has Liberator. Daenerys may do an assist action, and adjacent ally may do a basic action. Dragon Rider. Move the Drogon token. Again, I'm not sure why. I'm sure it's in the show, it's explained. I'm not sure why everything says dragon, and then the token's named a Drogon. Or if someone just mixed up their A's and O's when they were spelling it. But they'd have to do that a lot, because it's in every instance. But move the Drogon token 2 squares. If the Drogon token is in 2 squares of Daenerys, you may place Daenerys in the dragon squares. So the dragon can move, and then you can move her next to it. And then the bottom one just lets her move them a lot. And then Dracarys. Move the dragon token up to 4 squares in a straight line. Do a challenge 3 to rivals move through, limited once per turn. So she's kind of interesting because her only actual attack is the token. So she has to basically use her beginning of her turn ability to move it around, kind of get it where she wants it. And then she can use her 3-cost ability to move it again, and then she can challenge multiple characters that she can go through. But other than that, her other one, she doesn't have any special attacks. The Dragon Rider will just let her move it. Possibly she can get close, move with it, but if he's moving 4 on either of these two, unless you're using 1 to move 4 and then 1 to move back 4, I guess, or closer, he might not even be near her. And then, yeah, the top one lets you do an assist action, which helps stand stuff up, or an ally may do an adjacent ally may do a basic action. Yeah, so if that was like a companion or a token with extra abilities, I could maybe get that a little bit more. I might just be missing what her utility is, but she seems kind of weird, because other characters have been reliant upon their abilities. Their status cards or whatever, but she seems not just reliant, but she's 100% dependent upon that token. So I also wonder what happens if, because the token doesn't have health, but I wonder what happens if you have like a character like Ron who has the ability to remove tokens. So if you remove this token, can she just not do anything? I guess unless you use the ability that says or place it adjacent to her, so maybe that's what you have to do. But yeah, so this was the Funkoverse Game of Thrones big box set. Adds some new modes, adds some companion, which is a new type of card, or a newer, not a common one. Definitely neat. If you want some just different gameplay elements, it might be worth picking up. See you guys later. Bye.